In the heart of a quiet valley where the skies blushed pink every morning, there stood a mountain named Miro. To everyone else, Miro looked like any other mountain, tall, unmoving, ancient, but deep inside, under layers of rock and root, Miro held a secret he had never shared with anyone. Miro wanted to move. For centuries, he had watched the world change around him. Rivers curved and wandered. Clouds drifted freely. Birds flew wherever they pleased. And even the tiniest ants marched with purpose. But he stayed in the same place, unmoving, unchanging, watching life pass him by. And though mountains were supposed to be proud of their strength and stillness, Miro wished, just once, he could explore what lay beyond the valley. What did sunrise look like from a different angle? What did the ocean smell like? What songs did the faraway forests sing? One soft morning, as sunlight draped over his snowy peak, Miro whispered to the wind, "I wonder what it feels like to truly go somewhere." To his surprise, the wind stopped mid-whistle and spun around his peak with excitement. "Go somewhere!" The wind echoed, "Mountains Danti, go anywhere!" "Miro!" "I know," Miro sighed, "but I wish I could." The wind circled him again, gently brushing his rocky slopes. "Why would you want to move? You're strong. You're majestic. Everyone depends on you. The valley would feel empty without you." Miro's voice softened. "But I've been here for thousands of years. Wind, I've seen everything this place has to offer. I want to see more." "Just once." The wind didn't answer. Instead, it swirled away, leaving Miro alone with his longing. Later that morning, a little mountain goat named Pip hopped up Miro's side. Pip visited every day, telling Miro about the latest things she'd seen. Today, her eyes sparkled brighter than usual. "Miro, you won't believe the meadow below. A whole field of new flowers has bloomed, the most colorful ones I've ever seen." Miro tried to sound cheerful. "That's wonderful, Pip." But Pip tilted her head. "You don't sound happy?" Miro hesitated. Then he confessed, "Pip, have you ever wished you could leave the valley?" "Oh, all the time," Pip said without thinking. "I hop everywhere, over rocks, across streams, up cliffs. I've even been on the other side of the valley there. As a cave full of glowing mushrooms. I'd be bored if I had to stay in one place." Miro swallowed a sigh. "That's exactly it. I've been in the same place forever. I want to move."
Pip blinked at him. "Miro, mountains can't move." "I know," he murmured.
"I only wish I could." Pip's little tail drooped. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't know you felt that way." When Pip left, Miro felt heavier than usual. Not because of rocks or snow, but because of sadness. Days passed. Miro continued to watch the world, but he felt more distant from it than ever. One day, dark clouds gathered above the valley. A storm fiercer than any he'd seen in centuries rolled in with rumbling thunder. Rain crashed down like a waterfall, and wind howled furiously through the peaks. The trees bowed. The river swelled. Animals rushed to shelter, and Miro did what he always did, stood, still, strong, and unbroken. But halfway through the storm, a terrified voice called out, echoing up his side. "Help! Help!" It was Pip. Miro felt alarm ripple through his stones. "Where are you?" he called. "I'm stuck!" Pip cried. "A tree fell and blocked the ledge. I can't move." Fear surged through Miro. If he could, he would have rushed to her. But all he could do was try his best to help without moving. Thunder cracked overhead as Miro called to the wind. "Wind! Help! Pip!" The wind swept in, trying to lift the fallen tree. But it was too heavy. Rain hammered down, and Pip cried louder. Miro felt powerless. Completely powerless. His ancient heart thudded with a thought he had never dared to try. What if? What if he tried to move? Just a little. Just enough to help. He focused all his strength, all his longing, all his worry for Pip, deep into the core of his being. The valley trembled. Rocks shifted. Snow slid. A low, deep rumble echoed across the land. "Miro?" Pip whispered. "What's happening?" Miro didn't answer. He was concentrating too hard. And then it happened. Just slightly. Just barely.
He moved.
It wasn't a big movement. It wasn't even visible to most creatures. But to Pip, it was everything. The ledge she was stuck on tilted just enough for the fallen tree to slide off. Pip scrambled free, shaking. "You saved me," she said breathlessly. The wind, watching in awe, whispered, "Miro, you moved." Miro breathed in the deepest, most powerful way a mountain could breathe. "I did." The storm slowly died down. The clouds drifted away. Sunlight broke through, painting the valley gold. Pip stood proudly on Miro's slope. "You did something no mountain has ever done." Miro felt a warm glow fill his rocky chest. "I only moved because I needed to protect what mattered." The wind circled him gently. "Maybe," it said thoughtfully, "the world doesn't need mountains to move everywhere. Maybe the world only needs them to move when it truly counts." Miro thought about that. For the first time, he didn't feel trapped by his stillness. He understood now being still wasn't the same as being stuck. His place in the valley wasn't a prison. It was a purpose. Weeks passed, and the valley returned to peace. One sunset evening, Pip visited again, sitting on his ridge. "You know," she said, "even if you can't travel the world still comes to you. Animals, clouds, stars, storms, everything finds its way to your side." Miro smiled. "And I can always shift when I truly need to." Pip nodded. "That makes you the bravest mountain." "I know." The wind danced around them gently. "And remember," it whispered to Miro, "you may not move across the world, but you moved your heart. And sometimes, that is the greatest journey of all." Miro looked out at the valley he had known for centuries. It didn't feel small anymore. It didn't feel limiting. He realized he didn't need to go somewhere far to grow. He only needed to understand why he stood where he stood. And so, under the soft glow of twilight, Miro settled proudly into the land, not as a lonely mountain wishing for movement, but as a guardian who knew that every creature depended on his steady strength. He still dreamed sometimes, letting the wind tell him stories of distant lands. But he no longer wished to change who he was, because in helping others, he discovered something he never expected. He had already moved farther than he ever imagined. And deep within his ancient heart, Miro felt something shift again. Not the weight of stone, but the lightness of understanding. The kind that made even a mountain feel free.